Hi, Vanessa here. Today's video is about gauge swatch. So what you'll need is some yarn, okay? The yarn that you're going to work your project in and the needles that you'll use for the project. So you'll need some type of ruler to measure your gauge. So I'm using bulky weight yarn. Okay, this is Lion Brand's Color Made Easy. Okay, so usually the yarn label has all the information you need. For this yarn, bulky weight, it recommends a 6.5 millimeter needles. And even though it recommends a 6.5, I'm using US 11.8 millimeter. And that is because the project that I'm working on, I'm going to be using these needles. So I need the gauge to match with these needles. Right in this box is basically the 4-inch square. So it's saying that for 6.5 millimeters, you should get approximately 13 stitches and 20 rows. Okay, so even though I'm using a larger needle size, I'm going to cast on at least 13 or more for the portion I want to measure, and then just making sure that I go high enough for 4 inches. So I started off with garter stitches, okay, just 4 rows of knit stitches back and forth, and then on the edge there's 3 stitches on each side that I continued to knit on both sides. And then the center portion here is stockinette stitches, so it's knit on this side and purl on this side. Okay, so let's get started. I left 3 stitches on each side, so 6, and then I actually did 14, so I did a total of 20 stitches. So I casted on 20 stitches using the long tail cast on method. Okay, so I casted on 20 stitches. Okay, if you want a wider bottom here, you can definitely knit more rows. I just did that so that my square doesn't curl. So I'm using circular needles. This is Knitter's Prize Zing interchangeable needles. So I'm going to use these because this is what I'm going to use in my project. So knit every row. So I'm just knitting every stitch across for a total of 4 rows. You don't have to do this, but it helps with the curling. Okay, so I'm turning my work and I'm going to knit all stitches. So do that for a total of 4 or as many rows as you'd like before you start the stockinette portion. Okay, so I have my 4 rows of garter stitches. I'm ready to start the stockinette portion. So because I'm starting on the right side of my work, it's going to be all knit stitches. So when you're on the right side, it's going to be knit every stitch across. When you're on the wrong side, it's going to be knit 3, purl until the last 3 stitches, and then knit the last 3. Okay, so on the right side of your work, you're just going to always knit every stitch across. Okay, so now we're on the wrong side of our work. So to do the garter stitch edge, you want to knit 3, and then I'm going to purl every stitch until the last 3 stitches. Okay, I have 3 more stitches left. I'm going to knit the last 3. Okay, so you're going to repeat those 2 rows. On the right side, knit all stitches. On the wrong side, you're going to knit 3, purl across, and then knit the last 3. And then when you get to about, let me see, how many rows? So I stopped at about 22 rows, and then I finished off with 4 garter stitch rows to match the beginning. And then you just cast off. Okay, I'm going to show you how to cast off. Okay, so you want to knit 2 stitches, and then you want to pass the first knitted stitch over the just knitted stitch. So pass the right over the left stitch and over the tip and drop it. So now you repeat knit 1 and then pass the right stitch over the left. Knit 1, pass the right stitch over the left. Okay, you're going to continue this all the way across. Okay, this is my last stitch. Okay, so you're just going to cut this off and then run it through the loop and pull tight. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to unravel this and use it again.